Today I'm going to review and go over the collaboration principle in multimedia learning. As a virtual teacher, I am highly interested in how to have effective group collaboration. This includes working professionally on my virtual team, but also having my students be effective as they work on group projects, and also to not cause any cognitive overload. So with collaborative learning, there is three sub-principles that we're going to focus on today. So an overview of those is learning tasks, and if they're cognitively demanding enough to require collaboration, and thus making that collective working memory have to overwork. The second one being cognitive processes and how information necessary for learning are effective and efficiently shared among those group members. And the third principle we're focused on is the multimedia environment provides those necessary tools to be effective and efficient communication about the task content, as well as coordination and regulation of those processes involved to help carry out those tasks in order to minimize those transactional activities. So let's look at collaboration principle number one. So collaborative tasks in a multimedia learning environment should be cognitively demanding enough to necessitate working together. Well, a misconception is group work means effective work. Well, that's not true. Group work does not always mean effective collaborative learning. In order to have effective collaborative learning, these tasks of the group need to be problem-solving tasks. They have a much higher success rate compared to groups that just have to recall. They are not as highly successful, they are not as effective as a group that is working to problem solve. With effective collaborative group work, you're also overcoming working memory limitations. So each person is only able to take on so many tasks in their working memory. But using this collaboration principle, being able to split this among group members, well, now each group member has more capacity for their working memory. Freed up cognitive capacity means group members can work on activities that foster their learning. With that gets us into collaboration principle 2. Multimedia should stimulate effective and efficient distribution of thoughts and cognitive processes while members carry out tasks. So let's break this down a little bit more. Group allows encoding, storing, and retrieving information. So groups need to share and discuss among each other. That is an important part of collaboration. Information sharing group members collectively utilizes available informational resources. So with learners becoming dependent on each other, they now have a better performance outcome. They can use multimedia collaborative learning environment can offer these opportunities so that way facilitation and stimulate that sharing of group members. So stimulate those group members to depend on each other, make the group aware of your knowledge, encouraging that cognitive process so that way we can stimulate the learning, and making sure that we use that multimedia for our storage. That way we don't have repeated work. And so that allows us to create common goals and a focus among our group. In collaboration principle 3, this is where we focus on that multimedia should facilitate effective and efficient communication and regulations of actions. So often when you're in a group, you share what you have in common, but you forget to share that unique knowledge that you personally have to bring to the group. So that's going to be an important part, is to find time before you guys get started into a group, is to share unique knowledge that you have that could benefit the group project. So group awareness refers to each group member's knowledge and then how we can use that knowledge to work divide. So take that knowledge and then now divide that among the work that needs to be accomplished by the group. So group members must gather information about each other to promote effective learning and take off that cognitive load. So maybe starting with a survey in a multimedia platform where you can learn more information about each of your group members and decide which tasks are going to be the best for each person to work on, and that way that can take off that cognitive load. Collaboration in multimedia is effective when tools are utilized to allow interaction to share those cognitive resources. So using tools such as Google Platform has Google Sheets, Google Slides, things that are going to allow you guys to work together at the same time, but prevent any work to be repeated so you can see what each group member is working on in real time. So what is the implication for this cognitive theory? Cognitive load theory assumes that individual learning form complex task is constrained by a process. So effective group work seeks to limit that cognitive load of each individual person, which actually can result in prevent age-related cognitive declines. So here was a related study that I found. So the study was called Groups Perform Better Than the Best Individuals on Letters to Number Problems. And so they took 82 four-person cooperative groups and compared them to 328 independent individuals. So throughout these trials, they had random codes they had to solve, equations in letters, answers in the letters, and they would propose mapping of these letters to help solve different random codes. And the group results showed that anytime there was groups that worked together, they used less trials for their solution. They were able to actually solve more complex equations, and they did it faster than the second best, the third best, the fourth best individual groups that were out competing against them. So these cooperative groups show way better outcomes in solving things that involve problem solving. So here's an example I thought, well, how could we use this collaborative learning? So think about if you had to create a learning module. So your task was to work with a team to create a learning module that addresses third grade math standards. So you could use Google surveys to determine each other's strengths and weaknesses. The groups would then discuss and talk. They can divide those tasks through a Google Drive to reduce cognitive load, and then use something like Storyline 360 that is worked through the internet so that you could see the progression that's by all group members. This is ensuring that double work is not being done and taking that cognitive load. Another thing that I thought would be a great example is escape rooms. So you're using your knowledge of math, science, and history to escape the room using your problem-solving strategy. So as a group, you could discuss your strengths and weaknesses, divide up riddles and clues, work together to reduce your cognitive load, and working together will allow you to beat the clock more quickly than working alone. So communication is key, and share everything you know about those scenarios that are presented. This is going to allow the groups to be able to escape the room quickly because the goal is to escape the room as fast as possible while solving these problem-solving scenarios. So that is some information about the collaborative principle in multimedia learning, a little bit about each of it and how you can apply it to things that you are doing in group work each day.